Today we're talking about how to be content with your life. I don't know where you're at right now, but I know that in my life I had some times when I was so angry, so frustrated. There were things that I wanted that were just, just outside of my reach. And if I could only fix this one thing, I would be able to get that. Well, I got to tell you, there's a way for you to be content with your life right now, for you to have what it is that you want most in your life. And it's not as hard as you think. All right, welcome to Tactical Beliefs and Core Stories. Here we are talking about how to be really specific about the kind of beliefs that we have about ourselves, about our identity, about who we are, who we want to be, and be specific about those so that we can create the life we want. It's basically, how do you get out of your own way so you can get what you want? And it's the tactical beliefs about ourselves and the core stories we tell about ourselves that keep us in these patterns or that allow us to get to where we want to go. Hope that makes sense to you. So first of all, if you are in this place where you want to be content with life and you don't know how to do it, I totally get that. I've been there. I've been so frustrated. I'm not going to share my story at this point. I mean, I share it throughout the whole series, and so you may be tired of that. But let me tell you about another friend of mine he was hugely successful. I mean, making hundreds of thousands of dollars each year. He was a CEO. I talked to him and he was down. He was frustrated. He told me, Scott, why is it that the money doesn't mean what I thought it was going to mean? He's making all this money and yet it's not satisfying him. It's not giving him the meaningful life that he thought it would. He felt like he had been duped by corporate America. You know, that if you do this, if you work super hard, and then you'll be successful, and if you're successful, you'll be happy. And he realized that he had worked hard and he was successful, but he was not happy. He was not content. He was discouraged. He was dissatisfied. It was hurting his relationship at home. It was hurting his relationship at the office. He was feeling empty and discouraged and, just kind of like his life was sort of meaningless. It's kind of a dangerous place for him to be in. I was grateful to be able to talk to him at that time and share some things that I had found because, see, I found out that happiness is a skill. I found out that there's things that we can actually do to intentionally, deliberately spark our own happiness. And anyway, I wrote a book about it. And when I was doing that, I had another friend reach out to me and he said, Scott, is this true? Can I really do something about my own happiness? And I looked at him and I thought, man, he's just so successful. Why is he not feeling content and happy? And then I started to look at society and how many people are on antidepressants and how the suicide rate is so high and all of these things that are going on. And yet life is so good for us, but we can't quite see it because we're so discontent. We're so focused on these things that we want in our lives that are just outside of our reach, that we think if only we had that, it would make us happy and successful and content, and it's not happening. So anyway, I want to share two things with you that will help you do that. First of all, you need to become more conscious. You need to become more aware of what's really going on in your life. Great ways to do that is through journaling. It's through keeping a gratitude journal. I know it sounds silly, kind of foo-foo, but I tell you, it will change your life when you start to recognize when you are the recipient of deliberate kindness. The second thing is if you can be the driver in your life. You get your hands on the wheel and you drive. You are intentional. You are deliberate about what you focus your mind on, what you notice in life, and what you really enjoy in life. Okay, so here's the deal. Generally, when we're going through life, we start just coasting. We start letting other people and situations and circumstances drive us. We wake up in the morning. Let me know if this happens to you. You wake up in the morning and within the first few minutes you're checking your smartphone and you're looking to see how many likes you have, or how many shares, or whatever you've missed on social media, or you're looking at your email and you're finding out, oh my goodness, I need to do this now, and I wasn't even expecting to do this, and suddenly you're reeling, you're reacting to whatever's going on that you didn't know about until you looked at your phone. That's kind of one way where we're not the driver if we do that. Instead, if you have a set morning routine that you do, maybe you do some meditation. Maybe you do some reading that you choose to do first thing in the morning. Maybe you have a vision board that you spend time staring at, that this is the kind of stuff that you want to attract into your life. I don't know. But if you have a specific morning routine that you will follow, and that you don't let other things stand in your way, you don't let meetings get in the way, you don't let emails and text and these little things, but you have your personal time. The morning time is the best time to do that, because that's when you're fresh and deliberate. So anyway, that's kind of one way for you to get to be the driver in your life. What I want to talk about really in today's episode is how to be content with your life. And for that, let me tell you a story about the parable of the Mexican fisherman. So what goes on is this wealthy American investment banker goes down to this quaint Mexican village, and he's there when this fisherman comes in. He's the only one there at the dock. He docks his boat, and he's got some beautiful fish in there. And the investment banker says, "Wow, those are beautiful. How long did it take you to catch them?" "Oh, not very long at all, really." "Really? Well, what are you going to do now?" "Oh, I'm going to go home and maybe take a little nap, and then I'll go and play with my kids, and later I'll take a siesta with my wife, and then we'll go walking along the seashore, and at night I'm going to go in town into the village, and I'm going to play music with my amigos." And the investment banker says, "Oh no, buddy, you got this wrong. You have a gold mine here. You know how to catch these fish. What you need to do is you need to work longer at it. Go out there and fish until you just have an abundance. And then you take those and you sell them in the market. And once you sell them in the market, you're going to start making some money. I want you to save that money. Then I want you to put it into a bigger boat. And then you can catch more fish. And you can even have some employees, some guys that'll work with you, and they're going to do a lot of the work. And then you get more and more fish, and then you can start buying multiple boats. And as you start getting this whole fleet, then you start switching gears. And now I want you to start not just selling to the market. I want you to cut out the middleman. I want you to sell right to the distributor. Okay? And as you're doing, the fisherman's going, okay, now what? And as you start going directly to the distributor, you're going to make a lot more money. And then what you can do is you can have the processing plant, and you can have the whole process here, and you can own it all. And you're going to have to move out of here, but maybe you go to Mexico City or something bigger where you have more opportunities there. And then what you're going to do, and the Mexican fisherman's going, "Okay, this sounds really great." He says, "Then what? How long will this take?" He says, "Oh, maybe 15, 20 years. If you work really hard at it, stay persistent at it." And he says, "Well, great, then what?" He says, "Well, that's the best part. Then what you do is you sell the company, and you retire, and you find this quaint Mexican fishing village, and you retire there, and you sleep in, and you fish a little, and you take a siesta with your wife, and you walk along the seashore with her, and you go on into the town at night, and you play songs with your friends." See, the thing is we generally live life someday, and we put off these things, and we're not content with what we have right now. That Mexican fisherman, he had all that he needed when he fished for the day. Think about what you have right now. Do you have all that you need right now? Can you be content with what you have? Or are you constantly reaching for more? Is there something just outside of your reach that is somehow going to make you happy, that you're not content, you're not happy right now because you don't have it? Well, actually, if you can stop your focus from out here to your focus from within, then you're going to start to enjoy the things that you actually have. Okay, let me share one last thing with you. And this is an exercise that you can do. It's called the $32 million challenge. Think about if you somehow got $32 million, what would you do? Maybe you won the lottery. I don't know. But you got $32 million. And I'm sure, I know for me, when I would do this kind of game in my mind, is first thing I'd do is I'd quit my job because I didn't want to wear a tie anymore. Then I would take my family on vacation. We'd go to Hawaii and we'd be there for a couple of weeks just enjoying the beach and the sand and the warmth, and it was going to be awesome. And then you know what? My kids are going to have to go back to school someday, and we're going to have to go back to the mainland, and then I'm going to have to figure out what am I going to do with my time and what am I going to do with my money. And when I started to think about that in my head, and I hope you're doing that too, $32 million, what are you going to do with your time? What are you going to do with your money? When you start to think about that, you're going to realize that maybe you have a higher calling. Maybe there is something that you need to do in this life before you pass that is meaningful, that makes a contribution, that helps make the world a better place. When you start to think about that, I mean, those are things that could happen in the future if you got $32 million, but what if you could do that now? If you were free to do whatever you wanted to do, what would it be? Ask yourself that question, journal about it, and see what comes up. And you may find that you can be perfectly content with who you are, what you're about, and what you have right now. Because your identity really comes from knowing who you are, why you're here, and what you're about. What are your thoughts? You've had time to think. Now it's time for you to share. In the comments section below, share your thoughts, ideas, and questions, especially any insights that inspired you to take action. Of course, the best place to take action is at scottwilhite.com, because if you join me for a free web class, I will reward you with a purpose planner so you can start each day with confidence, clarity, and conviction. Your identity is your most valuable possession. It's who you are, why you're here, and what you stand for. Choose your beliefs and pick your identity. It is choice, not chance, that determines your reality. See you next time.